Alright, queens, do I have a video for you today or what? Today, we're going to talk about common posing mistakes. So, let's get into it. And you'll be able to really take in the surroundings in this room because I don't have the right posing set up to be able to give you a clean background. But you will be able to see some of my favorite shoes, some of my favorite art. Here, I'll give you a little tour. So, okay, I'm going to take this and I'll show you. Here is a painting that I made. Here is a collage I made. Love a collage. Here is this guts like yarn thing that I got from someone. Isn't that amazing? And there's little pins and stuff holding it together. And then what else do I have? I'm gonna cover up things. My friend Kelly painted me this. And it was still wet because it was an oil painting. And then I drove to California from Missouri. Here is this little guy that I made. There's little clothespins for the teeth. And then here's this painting I got from someone on Etsy. And then here's this little cat lady. See? And then here's a button sculpture I made. All right, let's get into the posing. Okay. Oh no. Okay, I dropped my phone, but it's okay. I hope you guys can hear me. Okay. Okay, where to begin? Let's start with the front pose. So, in your front pose, we want to show balance and symmetry between top and bottom. So, I'm going to have a slight angle in my foot. Can you see my foot? You can see it enough. This is the angle. Okay, slight angle in my foot to make my hamstring show a little bit. Put the other one in front, nearly on the same line as this foot. That way my back leg is not minimized. Like if it were back here, then it would look not as big as the rest of my body. So we want balance in size across the whole body. Oh, and I have my little monitor here so I know what's going on. Okay, so foot's there. And then angle shoulders towards the judges. Belly button is facing like diagonally at 45 degrees. Bringing this arm around so you can see it. Keeping shoulders level. And that's my front pose. Arm is framing the glute. And here is where we get into the things that we don't want to see. One, the arm being out. A lot of times people do that thinking that it makes their upper body look bigger, but really it just shows a lot of negative space, which takes away from the framing and esker right here. So we want to bring it closer. That way we can really get a really good frame on the glute and see where the waist cinches in. So that's one. Another one is a really tense shoulder back here. So a lot of people will be like this. This is off the dome, by the way. So it's going to be all over the place. Okay, another one is back shoulder is up and tense, which throws us off balance because it leans us back. And I mean, it's literally just off balance. It's asymmetrical. We want to go straight across. So level that shoulder. Another one we have is leaning forward. So a lot of people end up leaning forward because they don't have the mobility in their low back to be able to be straight up yet. So they'll be leaning forward, and that can also end up covering the glute like this, or just being straight back like this, which we don't want because it throws off your balance. We want to be standing tall the whole time. Another thing we have is covering the glute. We don't want to cover the glute because we want to see that shape in your entire physique. So you know we work glutes a lot as bikini competitors, so we don't want to cover them up. Another thing that people commonly do is they'll be way too opened up. So even though we still see some shape, our waist is becoming a bigger, literally bigger, because we're showing more of it to the judges. So we don't want to be this straight on. We want to have an angle, and that will come from angling our hips and our abdomen at like a 45 degree. Another one we see is being too profile. So this can cover our glute and it just takes away from shape, making us look more straight up and down than curvy like we're supposed to in bikini. Okay, another one. Okay, hips. So a lot of people will have their hips tucked. So see how we lose all of that glute? We want to have some arch in the low back the whole time. So I am arching my low back. Notice my upper body stays the same. So here versus arching my low back. And now we have that shape. That's what we want. Instead of this, which looks off. It just takes away from the shape that we want as bikini competitors. Another one is having the leg be facing back here, and now it's no longer on the same plane as the rest of our body like we talked about. So I like to bring the foot in and sometimes even angle the knee towards the judge. That way we see the same amount of conditioning in this leg as we do everywhere else on the body. Okay, what are some others? Here. Hand placement. I have it right here, like where my connector would be. We don't want to put it in the center of our abs. The reason is that when we do that, it's skin flowing into skin, so it makes our waist look thicker. We want to show off the tiniest part of our waist, so I'm bringing it down to my connector, and you see we get better shape when we do that. Another one is having the hand up too high. That kind of splits the frame into thirds, so here to here to here, instead of in symmetrical halves like an hourglass. And you know, bikini is all about hourglass. Okay, anything else I can cook up for the front pose? I think those are the main ones. And then another one is hand gestures. So a lot of people will have like a point or a fist. You want to look relaxed, so just relax that hand. Yeah, okay. That's all that's coming to mind for the front pose. We will go into more if I think of any. Okay. Another one is our back pose. So we want to be symmetrical from top to bottom, like I said. So I have my feet shoulder width apart. They're going to land just beneath my shoulders. And we're going to arch the low back and push that chest slightly forward. So it looks like this. We don't want it to look like this. That's something I used to do. And see how it makes the upper body wider than the hips? So we want to angle forward slightly. Another one is elbows. A lot of people have their elbows out like this. I've done all of these things before. Elbows out like this takes away from the shape. So we want to bring them hands down and elbows slightly in, just like that. And keep your core tight even in your back pose, because if you relax it, then it makes the waist look thicker. I'll show you. So here we are in place. Here we are relaxed. Another one is pinching the shoulder blades together. So we want to like open up our chest and our back. So just like this. What we don't want is pinching the shoulder blades together. That makes the upper body more narrow than the lower body, and we want balance between top and bottom. Okay, and then another one is angling the toes out way too far. So see how that makes my quads look a lot more dominant than my glutes? We want them again to be shoulder width apart, and the angle of your toes is going to depend on the development in your legs. So if you have super developed quads, you might have your toes angle straight at the back curtain like this. If your quads are in balance with your glutes, you can have a slight angle like we talked about. And then we talked about not having them too far. Another thing is the knees. A lot of times, especially if you're pigeon-toed, your knees will knock together when you are, maybe not pigeon-toed, but yeah, definitely. But also if yours kind of knock-kneed. I'm bow-legged, so like, you know, I don't really deal with that. But we want your knees to be almost like when you're doing an RDL or a deadlift and you spread the floor apart with your feet and then bend down to pick up the weight. We don't want them to ever look like they're coming together because it makes you look nervous. So what we don't want is this. Notice when I externally rotate, I look more confident. That's what we want. Another thing is squatting into the back pose. A lot of people think that it will help make their glutes look bigger, but it actually widens and flattens the glutes. So if you squat more, it's not going to make your glute ham tie show. You're better off just not having a glute ham tie and having a pose that looks very relaxed than you are squatting into your pose. So this is squatting into your pose. And what that will also do a lot of the time is push your shoulders forward. So you're going to end up rounding off your shoulders and looking like you are not balanced from top to bottom, because it's going to drop your shoulders completely. We don't have that same width on top to bottom. So it'll look like this. We want that shape to be like an hourglass. So those are the back pose mistakes that are coming to mind. Okay, let's go over some transition poses. So let's talk about model pose. So here's model pose. I have my feet in a T shape. I don't know if you can see. My feet are in a T shape. And we want the angle of your torso to be the same as in your front pose. So if I just switch my feet, I'm in my front pose. And then I just switch them again, I'm in model pose. What you don't want to do is go from model pose and then bring your feet in and then fully face the judges. That's a super common one. Just think about redistributing your weight between your feet so you can go like this. And that's your model pose. Keep your core tight, because when you have this arch in your back, it automatically, even if you have no body fat, pushes your abdomen out. So we want to keep our abdomen tucking it in and up like that. So like this. And then another thing we see with the model pose is having your foot placement be off to where one foot is over here, and then you get this like scissory stance. We don't want that. Okay, let's go over a peek over the shoulder. So peek over the shoulder. You want to maintain that arch in your back so you don't drop your glutes. A little window with this back elbow, that way you maintain hourglass the entire time. So notice how I have symmetry between top and bottom. My feet are again in that T position. Arching my back, keeping my core tight, slightly angling my chest at that back curtain. What we see a lot of the time is people being like this. And notice we're straight up and down again. We're looking linear and we aren't looking like we have much shape. So we want to angle slightly at the back curtain like this. Another thing we don't want is overturning. So where we see all of this leg. So that makes us look very lower body dominant. And again, we lose that hourglass shape. That is all that's coming to mind right now. I wanted to make you a video because it's been a minute since I made you a solo video, and the season has not started picking up yet. So I don't have any show previews or show reviews to be doing for you because the pictures for Campinas have not come out. So yeah, if you have some video topics you would like me to do, let me know. And if you have any questions about the poses we just went over, or if you want help with your posing, then you can send me a message. Have a good day.